Hi, I'm Ella. This is my presentation on child protection and safeguarding in sport. What is safeguarding? In the UK, safeguarding is enforced to proactively prevent and protect children from experiencing any form of abuse within sport. Safeguarding policy seeks to protect all those participating in sport up to the age of 18. Abuse. What is it? Abuse can take place in a variety of forms, some more recognisable than others. Emotional abuse is sometimes harder to recognise than other forms of abuse, yet it is the most reported form in sport, with 77% of males and 74% of females experiencing emotional abuse. It is important to identify the difference between a coach's criticism and critiques to that of emotional abuse. Emotional abuse is defined as persistent emotional victimisation and can include name-calling and constant humiliation that makes an individual feel sad, lonely and worthless. When this happens, it is suggested a proportion of victims self-harm, with 9% of males and 10% of females reporting engaging in this kind of behaviour. Physical abuse is defined by the CPSU as intentional physical harm towards children by either a parent, coach or peer. This can include acts of violence such as burning, hitting, biting, drowning children, as well as forcing them to take drugs or participate when they are injured. Sexual abuse is when a child is forced or convinced to take part in activities to meet others' sexual needs. This can be anything from pornographic material to sexual intercourse. Celia Brackenridge suggests that coaches are in a position of power and trust over the children in their care, and a misuse of this power can lead to sexual abuse through groping, indecent exposure to sexual material, and forced sexual encounters. Sexual abuse, the facts. 1 in 5 women aged 16 to 59 have experienced some form of sexual violence, with 16 to 19-year-old females being at the greatest risk of being a victim to sexual violence. However, the issue is not strictly confined to females, with 29% of males reporting experiencing sexual abuse. The NSPCC suggests that 1 in 20 children are sexually abused. Large proportions of children who have experienced abuse describe a process of grooming before the sexual encounter. Grooming takes place not only to the child but also their parents and everybody around them before the abuse occurs. Coaches create a bond and a trusting relationship with parents and children in order to make them believe they are good people and have their best interests at heart. They often make promises to children to support them and take them far within sport as long as they listen to them and do as they are told. It is then the abuse occurs and is concealed. What is being done to combat abuse in sport? If you feel you are experiencing any form of abuse, you should always tell a parent, teacher or your safeguarding officer. In 2001, the Child Protection and Sport Unit was established to allow children to play sport, stay safe, enjoy and achieve, surrounded by appropriate coaches in a happy environment. The CPSU introduced codes of conduct for coaches and methods of reporting abuse from grassroots clubs to elite level. In the news, in 1995, swimming coach Paul Hickson was convicted for multiple accounts of abuse to young girls in swimming. This created moral panic among the sporting community and caused sporting bodies to act. The British Swimming Association and other bodies such as the FA, NFL and LTA all began to ensure coaches had DBS checks and other relevant qualifications before they are able to work with children within sports clubs. They did this so the right people were working with children for the right reasons. There have been many high-profile cases throughout the years as it became evident this abuse was not only occurring in swimming and instead was apparent across a wide variety of sports. In the Canadian national sport of ice hockey, Sheldon Kennedy reported being abused by his youth coach Graham James, who was later convicted in 1997. In the NFL, coach Jerry Sandusky was sentenced to 30 to 60 years for sexual abuse of boys in his care. Elite boxers in recent years have also spoken out about the abuse they experienced from coaches and their fear of speaking out against them. Speak out. It is suggested that those performing at an elite level are at a greater risk of being abused by their coach, with 46% reporting sexual abuse. It is often the case, however, that they do not speak out of the abuse they are suffering due to worrying they may be dropped from the team and a risk of it jeopardising their sporting career. Not only this, but they fear people will not believe them as a result of it being against the word of a trusted, well-respected coach. But abuse is always wrong and can be difficult to talk about, but there's always somebody to talk to. Speaking out can help create a safe sport environment along with the appropriate policy and procedures being employed by clubs. A safe sport environment is described as a respectful, equitable and free from all forms of non-accidental abuse environment where children are able to grow, develop and thrive in sport. This is the aim across all sports, to make a safe environment for all, free from abuse.